church today. It's awesome. So we're going to preach through the whole book of Job today. It's only like 36 chapters or something like that, so don't panic. Don't panic. But let's start out with some questions and some discussion. So, do you want to be an honorable human being? That's kind of what the book of Job is about. It's actually, the book of Job is really, really shocking, and I hope that it's also very instructive. So I hope it speaks to all of you. Do you want to be an honorable human being? So I hope so. When I wrote that sentence down, though, I had to pause for a second. I had to be like, wait a minute, you can't just ask that question. You gotta qualify that a little bit, because what does it mean to be an honorable human being? To whom? Honorable to whom, right? Like, who cares? Like, because honorable in people's eyes, that's really easy to fake, right? You can fake that. You can seem honorable, but in the secret, maybe you're not that honorable. That happens a lot, right? When people die and their closet's wide open, and you go, wow, I never would have seen that coming. Honorable to who? Do you want to be an honorable human being? And when I ask that question, I mean to God. You want to be honorable in the end. In the end, when everything is laid bare, do you want to be honorable on that day? I hope so, right? Everything leading up in this service so far has pushed us in that way, right? Even the scripture reading, like, who are we? Can you be generous? Can you lay it down? How do you see yourself? Do you want to be honorable to God? And now that's an interesting question too, because is that even possible? Like we're just humans, right? We're just humans. We're just people. We're not divine. We're not in heaven right now. We're all right here, and we live in such a corrupt world with like the best of us on a holiness scale. Rough. How can any human stand and be honorable to God? Is it possible? I'll tell you this. It's actually like this is my prayer for you, but it's my prayer for me that I could preach to you in such a way that God would be beautiful in your eyes, that you would be able to determine in your hearts to be honorable before Him. And then one day, you and I together would be able to present our lives to God, and that He would give us honor. Jesus says this, like speaking to His disciples as a foundational bedrock for their lives. He says to them, my Father will honor those who honor me. That's the bedrock of the book of Job, by the way. Spoiler alert. That's the bedrock. My Father will honor those who honor me. Imagine that. Just like that should be enough. Really, that right there should be enough that you could just ponder that all week long, and we could come back next week and talk about Job. Like, just ponder that for a minute. What does it look like? What will it look like when the Father pauses and honors a person, right? How will He do it? With what will He do it? In front of who will He do it? How will He do it? Like, what will that be? Will it just be a passing pleasure? Will it be an eternal effect? What will happen? Ponder it. Don't let that thought escape your mind. Wrestle with that. Wrestle through it. What does it mean to honor Jesus? Wrestle through that. What does honoring Jesus look like? What does it take? How could I do it more? How could I do it today? How could I do it right now? What does it look like? And what will be the worth, the value? What am I holding on, as Jeff pointed out? What am I holding on to that my clinging to is actually the opposite of honoring Jesus? And I would be way better off for letting go. What is it? How? Like, that's a huge sentence. Jesus gives that to his disciples as, listen, here's the rock to build your life on. My Father will honor those who honor me. That's weighty. It's unbelievably weighty. Anyhow, do you want to be honorable? And not just surface level honorable, but honorable in the heavens. Because here's the thing. We can trick each other, right? We can seem honorable. But you can't trick the spirit world, right? You can't trick the spirit world. The spirit world and the heavenlies, the angels and the demons and God, the sons of God, if you will. You can't trick them, right? You can't even trick the bad ones, the fallen watchers. You can't trick them either. Like when you give in to greed and lust and selfishness and envy and gluttony and pride and selfishness, you are worshiping one of those. Like they know when they're being worshiped. So in public you seem all upright and honorable, but up there's no joke, there's no kidding, there's no faking it. Like they know you're gonna sit here and seem honorable, and then one of the demons, fallen watchers in heaven, knows later today you're gonna go into your closet and bend knee and worship him. That's rough. That's rough. You want to be honorable. Job starts out like this. And it's a story of an actual human being who is honorable. And so we're going to look at it. Because God is telling us, listen, no, it is truly humanly possible to honor God. You, not just out there ethereally. No, you, every single individual you in this room, hearing me online, you can be the one. You can decide in your heart and with your character to be honorable, even to the spirit world. Job is that example. Here's the basic storyline in the book of Job. In the land of Uz, there lived a man whose name was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys, and had a large number of slaves. So he's profoundly wealthy. The text is going to say, yep, there he was. He was the greatest man among all the people in the East, right? Way back when, East is where it was at. Right? That's saying in the Western wealthy world, this is the most prominent man. Like, that's a big deal. This is not nothing. This is a giant sentence, okay? So he's profoundly wealthy. Profoundly. Thousands and thousands of animals and servants and carefree. He would literally never have to leave his house if he didn't want to, because he had servants over all of it. Generational wealth. He's got children, sons and daughters. He's got generational wealth. But he also has character. It's profound. Listen to this. His sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays, and they would invite their sisters to eat and drink with them. So they're fairly functional, right? They want their siblings with them on holidays. Like, that's rare. So they're functional. He's got character, he's got wealth, he's got a functional family. When the period of feasting had run its course, Job would make arrangements for them to be purified. Early in the morning, he would sacrifice a burnt offering for each of them, thinking, perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. And this was Job's regular custom. He wasn't just concerned about his own character and his own relationship with God. He was concerned about his children's character with God, and he did everything he could to make sure that they were always on the right foot with God. He is right in every sense. He's upright in every sense. He's not just a rich guy. He's a great rich guy. He has got character from top to bottom. So much so that this conversation happens. This conversation happens. Listen to this. It's an outrageous conversation. It takes us from Job's life and shoots us up into the heavenlies, right? The sons of God in the Old Testament are the God's counsel, the holy ones, the ones who report to him. It's not all the angels, it's the important ones, and God has meetings, and this is the heavenly council, and the angels, the sons of God, and that includes both fallen and not fallen. The watchers come and report to God, right? He's a good manager. One day, the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan, now here's the problem. I'm just going to say this once because it's not that big of a deal, but in Hebrew, this is not Satan, right? In the Old Testament, you should not read Satan there. The word the is in front of a name, and like English, Hebrew never puts the word the in front of a name. I am not the Bruce, right? I'm just Bruce. The doesn't fit. So this is the accuser, right? The accuser. So they just throw the name Satan in there. Jews didn't have a guy named Satan, but they did have an accuser. The accuser could be a good angel. Because God's on trial here, not Job, right? So anyhow, that's enough on that subject. And the accuser, I'm going to read it that way. The sons of God came to present themselves before Yahweh, and the accuser came with them, as he should. Then Yahweh said to the accuser, "Where have you come from?" And the accuser answered Yahweh, "From roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth. I'm checking on it. I'm reporting back. I'm here to report to you what is going on in the earth. That's my job. I'm a son of God, and this is a council meeting. I have done my job. I have looked. I know what's going on in the world." Yeah? That's the setting. It's a heavenly setting. God's in heaven, and he's getting a report from his council. The Lord said to the accuser, Yahweh says to the accuser, listen to this. Yahweh says to the accuser, "Have you seen Job?" Have you seen that guy? That guy, oh man, he's amazing. Have you considered my servant Job? There's no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. Like, just pause for a second. Pause for a second and contemplate this scene. Among the sons of God, right? Here's Yahweh on his throne in a council meeting. All of them probably on thrones, right? Having a round table discussion. All of them glorious. They're sons of God. They're going to be radiant. They're going to be enormous. They're going to be weighty. They're going to be impressive. And God brags about a human, like one of us. We're tiny and we're fleshly and we're soft. But we were created as image bearers, right? We are not as we appear to us, right? On the scale of things, we are not created to be weak and soft and powerless. No, we are created to be the image bearers, the glory-giving image bearers, the mirrors, if you will. We are created to be the mirrors of Yahweh. That's who we are. We're not frail, we're not weak, we're not cowards. We're not just, flowers blown in the wind, whichever way the wind blows. No, that's not who we're created to be. We're supposed to be really substantial, even in the spiritual world. God himself knows Job, and God himself is proud of Job and wants to brag about him even to the council members. Do you want to be honorable? Do you hope in some small way, in some small way, do you hope that on some small way you put a smile on the face of God? Do you care? Like if you don't care, well, I'm glad you're here. Because I hope to convince you to care. But if you care, I want you to know right now that this book is going to tell you that's possible. That's a real thing. That is not just pie in the sky. It is not just arbitrary. God doesn't have favorites. It's not how it works. All of us can live in such a way that even among the holy ones, we are significant. My Father will honor those who choose to honor me. You can do that. That's crazy, right? It's crazy. How honorable do you have to be? Like seriously, how stand-up-ish do you have to be to do that? Like, for God to pause a meeting and to just point one human being out. Look at that guy. He is crushing it, man. He is crushing it. He's doing better than some of you. Now, why I think the accuser stands up, and it's the accuser, well, the question is going to come, like from their perspective, like they have to go, oh, come on, man. Those things down there are just, look at us, man. Why aren't you just happy with us? Like, you don't need those things. Like, they are so weak and so given to failure and such cowards. Why don't waste your time, right? The sons of God in this setting don't seem to really appreciate us that much. Hard to blame them, though, really, right? So the story goes like this. No, not yet. So in the book of Job's hard to read. And not everything in the Bible is true. You have to know that, right? Not everything in the Bible is true. Just because it's written in the Bible does not make it true. The book of Job is a conversation between Job and his so-called friends, and none of them for 20 chapters, 25 chapters maybe, of the Bible, none of them have it right. They're all wrong. At the end of the book of Job, God speaks, and he corrects all of them. And God says, listen, none of you have told the truth about me, right? Because here's what they don't know. They have no idea. Job has no idea that there's a conversation in heaven going on about him. He has no earthly idea. He is just living his life, knowing God's out there, but But he has no idea. He is the pinpoint focus of a council meeting, and he's about to get wrung out because of something going on in heaven. And so everyone interprets Job's life based on just what they see on earth, and they can't get it right. You cannot get your life right. You cannot interpret your life correctly if you're only interpreting it from what you see on earth. Lesson 1. You can't do it. Can't do it. You will never get it right. You have to know the big picture. If the spiritual curtain is not pulled back, you can't get it right. You just can't. So anyhow, all this stuff in there, it's all wrong. So you have to get to the end of the book to find the meat in the book of Job. This is how Job defines himself. This is good. Listen to this. This is real. God is going to say, and Job didn't tell any lies during this text. Here's Job's self-evaluation. I rescued the poor who cried for help, and the fatherless who had none to assist them. The one who was dying blessed me. I made the widow's heart sing. I put on righteousness as my clothing. Justice was my robe and my turban. I was eyes to the blind. I was feet to the lame. I was a father to the needy. I took up the case of the stranger. I broke the fangs of the wicked and snatched the victims from their teeth. What do you have to do in life to be able to claim that and to be affirmed by God? Yeah, that's true. That's true of him. Listen to these sentences. They're outrageous. This is possible. This is humanly possible. He's going to say this, and he's going to say, then I should be judged, right? I should be judged. But listen to these positive statements. If I have walked with falsehood, or my foot has hurried after deceit, then I should be judged. If my steps have turned from the path, if my heart has been led by my eyes, ooh, who's guilty of that one? If my heart has been led by my eyes, or if my hands have been defiled, if I have allowed these two things to do wrong, or to live through my eyes, then sure, I should be judged. If my heart has been enticed by a woman, or if I have lurked at my neighbor's door, David, then may my wife grind another man's grain. Yikes. And may other men sleep with her. Like, yeah, then I deserve it. Then I deserve it. Then I have nothing to complain about. If I've done any of these things, he isn't done. For that would have been wicked, a sin to be judged. He acknowledges it. Like, yeah, that, okay, then you can't complain. But I didn't do that. If I have denied justice, listen to this. If I have denied justice to any of my servants, whether male or female, when they had a grievance against me, what will I do when God confronts me? A profoundly wealthy man who, when an employee has a grievance, he treats them on equal footing, because look at his next verse. Did not the one who made me? Did the one who made me in the womb not make them? Did not the same one form us both within our mothers? What profoundly wealthy man gives equal footing to a servant and makes sure that the servant is heard and gets justice and treats them just as absolute equals without any consideration of wealth? It's rare. It happens. It happens. Job did it, right? It happened. It's possible. It's possible for us to treat people that way, right? It is. If I have denied the desires of the poor, or let the eyes of the widow grow weary, if I knew someone in need and didn't meet it, sure, I'm guilty. But I didn't. Like he said at first, listen, I bring joy to the widow's eyes. What? Who does that? If I have kept my bread to myself and not sharing it with the fatherless, if I have seen anyone perishing for lack of clothing, or the needy without garments, and their hearts did not bless me for warming them with my fleece, then I'm guilty. But that never happened. There was never a needy widow anywhere in the world that I was aware of and didn't meet that need, because I could. There was never a poor person who was hungry or no clothes. Not while I live. There was no one who's above another person, not as long as I live. This guy's a good guy. This is a very good report. If I have raised my hand against the fatherless, knowing that I had influence in court, then let my arm fall off. Listen, if I didn't use my influence for the needy, not for myself, not for my business, not so I could get more land, not so I could double my profits. No, if I didn't use my influence, my voice, my power, my status for someone who didn't have a voice and no status, then I am wrong. Then bring it on, because I deserve it. Of course God loves Job. Like, Job's outrageous. He's truly upright. You can do that. You can be that guy. 2024. 2024 could be the year that you lock it in your heart. No, I will no longer ever be on the wrong side of an issue. I won't do it. I'm done. I want this. I want to get honor. I want God to honor me. Listen, how could you even hear that sentence? I want God to honor me. That's an outrageous sentence. It almost seems like blasphemy, right? I want God to honor me because I honored the Son. You can do it. You can do it. For the fear of God's splendor, I could not do those things. Job's got an anchor. He's got an anchor. He's got an anchor. He's not just self-righteous. No, he is not going to get honor from God if he's self-righteous. He's actually righteous. He is doing these things for the splendor of God. Right? He gets the glory. I'm going to look at everything he gives me as a tool, and I am here to be a mirror of his goodness. And that's what I will be every day to the best of my ability. Wow, it's good, right? It's really good. Like, he's a good guy. He's not done. If I have put my trust in gold or said to pure gold, you're my security. If I have rejoiced over my great wealth, the fortune of my hands had gained. If I had regarded, listen to this one, if I regarded the sun in its radiance or the moon moving in its splendor, so that my heart was secretly enticed and my hand offered them a kiss of homage. The sun and the moon in the ancient cultures were deities. right? God tells them over and over and over again through the law, like, do not worship the sun and moon. I have given them to other nations to worship. You worship me, right? They're for the blind to worship. But they move, so they must be alive, and they're important, so they must be important deities. If my hand even slightly thanked them so that I might have given them even a slight kiss, then these also would be sins to be judged, for I would have been unfaithful to God. And I won't do that. Honorable. You can do it. Job can do it. Job is not Paul. We're not talking Paul, who got a special vision from God, who, on the road to Damascus, and then he gets taken to heaven, and like, okay, be Paul. You can't be Paul. Paul's outrageous. No, you can't be Jonah. Like, you're not going to get swallowed and then puked out by a whale. It's not going to happen. No. Job, he has no clue what's going on in heaven. No clue. God's not talking to him. Nothing. He just knows about God. Job is repeatable. You can be this person. You can set in your heart a stone, a foundation stone, and every single thing in your life can lean up against that stone. You can do that. Don't say you can't. God can honor us even among the sons of God. We are built for it. We have a soul that can learn. It can put on righteousness. You can be better tomorrow than you were yesterday. You can. But this is good stuff, right? It's good stuff. It's amazing. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. So what's the key? What is the key? The key to the book of Job is chapter 28. Chapter 28 is going to give us Job's foundation stone, right? Here's his basic idea in Job 28. The first 11 verses talk about how amazing humans are, right? And he goes on and he has this little spiel, like, listen, we have figured the whole thing out. We are amazing creatures. We can dig into the earth and we can find iron ore and gold ore, and we can melt this stuff and we can make copper, and we have explored the earth. We can dangle from ropes and swing around. We have traversed every terrain. We have swung off every cliff. We have dug into the depths of the earth, and we have found all the treasures in the earth. We have searched out every river. We know everything. We are awesome, and no animal, no great bird of prey or some earthly beast can have any hopes of following us. They can't touch what we are awesome. That's how he starts the first 11 verses. But then he says this. But none of that leads to wisdom. You can't, with these eyes, no matter what, with these eyes can't discover wisdom. Where's wisdom? Like, we've looked everywhere. Like, literally, we've looked everywhere. Where can wisdom be found? Where does understanding dwell? No mortal comprehends its worth. It cannot be found in the land of the living. The deep says, it is not in me. Don't look here. The sea says, I don't have it. Don't come swimming in me. Like, to find wisdom, you're looking in the wrong place. It can't be bought with the finest gold, nor can its price be weighed out in silver. It cannot be bought with gold of Ophir, with precious onyx, lapis. Neither gold nor crystal can compare with it, nor can it be had for jewels of gold. Coral and jasper are not worthy of mention. The price of wisdom is beyond rubies. The topaz of Cush cannot compare with it. It cannot be bought with pure gold. Where then does wisdom come from? Like, where do you get it? If you can't buy it, if you can't dig it up, if you can't find it where do you get wisdom? Who am I? What is life about? What's the purpose? What can I be? What should I do? You can't answer those questions with what you have in your hands or what you see with your eyes. If you do, you will not be honorable. You'll be honorable to people. For a very, very small red piece of time, you'll be honorable. But not really. Because that red piece of time, if you were here last week, is very, very small. It is hidden from the eyes of every living thing, concealed even from the birds in the sky. This is a cool line. Destruction and death say, only a rumor, like evil just says, I don't even know if wisdom is true. Like, we've heard rumors that there's a thing called wisdom, but I don't know if that's real. God understands the way to it, and he alone knows where it dwells. For he views the ends of the earth and sees everything under heaven. When he established the force of the wind and measured out the waters, when he made a decree for the rain and a path for the thunderstorm, then he looked at wisdom and he appraised it. Wisdom is eternal. Wisdom is eternal. Wisdom is long-standing. It dwells forever. God looked at wisdom and he appraised it. He confirmed it and tested it. Yes, this is good. This is good. Here is wisdom. You want to know what it is? And he said to the human race, the fear of the Lord. That's wisdom. To shun evil, that's understanding. Now you know. The fear of the Lord. Build your life beyond this world. Live your life not through your eyes. Do not favor your compromises. They will grow strong. They will eat everything you feed them. Don't do that. That's not wisdom. That's folly. That's destruction and death. Who says, screw wisdom? There's no such thing. It's a rumor. No, don't hear that. Be a mirror of Yahweh. See every single thing you have as a tool to bring light to the world and hope to the darkness. We have an eternity. Build your life here. My Father will honor those who honor me. Like that's a rock that can bear all the weight. That is a gem that can satisfy all the desires. That's a goal that's big enough to consume your life. That's an adventure of a lifetime. The taming of your soul. The training of your will. You know there's enough work there to occupy you. Build on the rock. But I'm with the accuser on this one. That's easy if you're profoundly wealthy. Like you can't give enough away to feel it. Right? Like Job, it's too easy for you. You don't get off that easy. You don't get to be the richest man on the planet and also get an unbelievable, you have a functional family and lots of them and everything is good and you're healthy and they're healthy and you have everything you want, everything you could ever want. You don't get to preach to me. Like, you don't get to preach to me. Like, I need a little more traction than that, right? And that's what the accuser does, right? The accuser is going to say to God, God's going to call them in another time. The accuser is going to say, I think I have it up here. No. Okay. So the accuser has it up here. And the accuser is simply going to say, you know the story. Well, of course he honors you. You've put a hedge around him. You've made it unbelievably easy for him. And God says, okay, well, let's see if that's true or not. What is he saying? Let's see if it is true that a human can't actually be honorable. Let's test that. Maybe they can't be. Maybe they can't. Maybe I made him too weak. So fine, let's test Job. I think he'll pass. Let's test him. So God says, you can take everything you want. Don't touch him, but take it all. Take it all. And the accuser takes it all, right? In one day, while Job is sitting in his house with his wife, in one day, 4 servants walk in the door, one after the other, probably covered in blood, definitely sweating and covered in dirt. They rush in, and the first one says, listen, you've been attacked, and all the sheep are gone. You have no more sheep. And servants. They're all dead. They're all gone. The next one runs in the door. I'm the only one to survive. The next one runs in the door and says, listen, all the camels are gone. Like you've been attacked and all the camels have been taken. And then all the cattle and then everything's taken. Every last piece of wealth is gone. They don't have a bank. They probably don't even have currency. They trade in animals. If you have no animals, you have no wealth. It's all gone. And then the last servant comes in and says, listen, it was probably one of the kids' birthdays. At a child's birthday, probably, because they're all together, and that was the setting. A great wind came, knocked the house down, fell on you. Every single one of your kids are dead. They're all dead, every one of them. And you have nothing anymore. You don't have 2 animals to start a herd. You don't have anything to trade to get one more animal. You have literally nothing. And the text says that Job went outside and worshiped God and said, the Lord gives and the Lord takes. And he worshiped God. I'm also still not going to give it to him. Not going to give it to him. Because that is so traumatic. That is so traumatic that you are just going to be in awe, right? If you have lost someone super close, you know there is a fog for a while. And you do okay for a little while. You're just in shock for a moment. And that moment might go, but then it hits you. Like I don't care what Job did in the moment. Don't get me wrong, that's impressive. But I want to know what he did 6 months later. That's what I want to know. I want to know 6 months later, what's Job doing? Because 6 months later, he's wrecked. He's wrecked. And God calls another council meeting. After Job sits with that for a while, and God calls a council meeting and says to the accuser, look at him, man. Look at him. He's doing awesome. You had me turn my hand against him for no reason, and he is rocking it. What? And the accuser says, well, that's because he still has his health, If you got your health, you got everything, right? He still has his health. Wreck his health. Oh, he'll hate you then. God says, okay, don't kill him. Short of killing him, do what you want. What? Short of killing him, do what you want? Yeah, do what you want. Okay, all right. I will give him festering, aching sores from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. I will wreck him. And he will have no funds. He can't get help. I will wreck him. I will make him reek of pus and infection. I will make him stink and ache and cry and moan. I will give him no comfortable position to sit in, to lay down in, to stand. He won't have nothing. He can't sit on anything. I will wreck him. So he wrecks him. And then here's the bulk of the story of Job. We find Job sitting outside, and it says he just has a sharp piece of clay, and he is just scraping and popping and easing the pressure all over his body. All over his body. Now, here's the trick. This is the beauty of the book of Job. The question here is, can his anchor still hold? Can it still hold? Is it still big enough? Is the rock in his life that I will honor God, that someday there is hope, there is something bigger than this, the fear of God is the most important thing, and that's what I will build my life on. Can it hold in an opposite scenario? Because this is very, very hard. This is very, very hard. There are tons of poor people who hate God because they're poor. And they win the lottery. And then they become amazing people, right? Is that the story of the lottery? It is not the story of the lottery. You can take a functional, moderately poor person and let them win untold wealth. And they are wrecked because whatever it is they built their life on can't sustain the pressure of the opposite. That's asking a ton. Is the rock in your life big enough to sustain you in an opposite scenario? Can you be profoundly wealthy and healthy and now enter in and you have nothing and you are literally on the ground just trying to cut yourself enough that you can lay down in a position and not have the pressure of a boil killing you? Like, can you still sustain hope? I don't know. Is that humanly possible? Is Jesus a big enough rock to do that? Here's Job's answer to that. Job 19. Though I cry violence, I get no response. Though I call for help, there is no justice. He has blocked my way so that I cannot pass. He has shrouded my paths in darkness, that he is God. He has stripped me of my honor and removed the crown from my head. He tears me down on every side till I am gone. He uproots my hope like a tree. His anger burns against me. He counts me among his enemies. Is any of that true? Oh, but does it feel like it's all true? Oh, yeah. Okay, Job has no idea that God is profoundly proud of him, that he is literally on the trophy shelf, that he is living his life in the middle of the table. And the council is sitting around, and God is going, look at him, man. Look at him. No, Job is feeling wrecked because of his terrible advice from his so-called friends. His troops advance in force. They build a siege ramp against me and encamp around my tent. There is no escape. He has alienated my family from me. My acquaintances are completely estranged. Yeah, you think you have friends as a billionaire. Sit on the sidewalk homeless. See how many of those friends hang around. My acquaintances are completely estranged from me. My relatives have gone away. My closest friends have forgotten me. My guests and my female servants count me as a foreigner. They look at me as a stranger. I summon my servant. He doesn't answer, though I beg him. No response. My breath, it's offensive to my wife. Like I am a disgusting pool of oozing sickness and stink. That's all I am. That's who I am. And God is not innocent in this. I'm wrecked. I'm absolutely, from top to bottom, in every sense, there is no support, there is no hope. Everything I did for everyone else. There is no one who does any of it for me. I'm alone, and I stink even to me, and I cannot get comfortable in any sense. I am loathsome. I am gross. Everyone mocks me. The little boys, they scorn me. I'm in the street and they yell things as they go by. Don't they know me? Haven't I helped all of them? They ridicule me. All my intimate friends, they detest me now. They don't know what to do. I'm an anomaly to the world. Their whole worldview is wrecked by looking at me. Their whole concept. Those I love have turned against me. He's wrecked, right? He's wrecked. He's wrecked. What could be in his life to sustain him in this situation? I am nothing but skin and bones. I have escaped only by the skin of my teeth. Or it could possibly read, I only have gums left. Right? I'm rotting from the inside out. Have pity on me, my friends. Have pity, for the hand of God has struck me. He's broken. Why do you pursue me as God does? Will you never get enough of my flesh? Here we go. Oh, that my words were recorded, that they were written in a scroll, that they were inscribed with iron tool on lead or engraved on a rock forever. I know that my Redeemer lives, and that in the end my eyes will see him on the earth. And after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh I will see God. I myself will see him with my own eyes, I and not another. And how my heart longs for that. Justice is real. As surely as God lives, who has denied me justice, the Almighty, who has made my life bitter, as long as I have life within me, as long as I have life within me, the breath of God in my nostrils, my lips will not lie about God. I don't know any longer how this world works. I don't know how to interpret my life. I don't know why things are happening to me that seem radically unjust. But I know this: my Redeemer lives, and one day I will see him, and there will be justice. And if that's true, then there's always hope. In the face of me sitting on the ground, carving myself up, there is hope, because this life is not life. This is not all there is. There is a day, and after that day, there is an eternity of time where we are standing in our reward. And we can build such a foundation in our souls that if prosperity were to come our way, or disaster come our way, or just the life I have right now continue to happen, that I can see every single thing I have as a tool to bring light to the world, or I can view the disasters of my life as an opportunity for God to put me in the middle of the table and hold me out and say, look, sons of God. No, I don't have to give them popcorn and peanuts for them to honor me. No, I am enough. I am enough for them to honor me. I love them enough. I have made them enough. I have made them powerful enough. I have taught them that I am a good God and will reward their perseverance. The hope that I have given them in Christ forever. That hope, that foundation, their future inheritance is enough to sustain hope in the middle of terror. Terror. Hope is there. You, I don't care what your circumstances are. Job answers that question. A day is coming. Jesus says, my Father will honor. What is that? God Almighty will honor. What? Ridiculous. Those who honor Christ. It's profoundly heavy. Let's pray.